Thank you very much to be with us today, Mr. Aschbacher, Directeur Général of ESA. The big event this summer was Ariane 6 maiden flight, and well, despite a tiny problem in the end, where are we regarding the analysis of the data that were collected, and is the timetable to transfer the launcher to Arianespace before the end of the year being respected, please?
Yeah. First of all, thank you, Stefan, for switching me to Toulouse. Greetings here from ESTEC, as you can see. Unfortunately, I cannot be with you. I would love to. I've just listened also to the conversation before of Philippe Baptiste and Yasuo Ishii-san, and a very interesting debate. So your question on Ariane 6, yes, it was a huge success. It was a huge success for Europe, for space, but also for the European Space Agency. But really, let me underline that this is a success of what we call Space Team Europe, which was formed to really make sure that the main partners towards the launch of Ariane 6 are working closely together through a task force which I have created. And these are Ariane Group, obviously, as the prime contractor in charge of the launcher, CNES, and Philippe Baptiste. Philippe, hello. Very happy to really see how this worked extremely well as a partnership with, of course, also Arianespace and ourselves as ESA. And I really have to say this is a success of the teams. It's not ESA, it's not one of the organizations. It really is the team of Europe, including, by the way, our member states who have been continuously supporting the success of the Ariane 6 maiden flight or inaugural flight. And I think it's also a sign where we can be really proud. It's quite an achievement. We have heard before that the inaugural flights are not always succeeding. I've done my own statistics. About 47% of inaugural flights of a first rocket since 2000 have failed. That means 53% only have been going well. And Ariane 6, I'm happy to say, is on this part of the ones that went well. So I think this is also something where we can really be very proud and very grateful to the various partners involved. Your question was about what you call the mishap. This was the premature switching off of the APU. The second switching off, it was switching on once before, which worked well. And the second time it switched off prematurely. We have got the data, what we call the level 0 data. We had a level 0 steering board where we analyzed in the first view this data. It looked good so far, but we are still working on these mountains of data. You can imagine how many measurements have been taken, and we are still drawing up the conclusion. So it's too early now to conclude, but I can really say it does not impact our next flight, which is a commercial flight planned before the end of the year under the responsibility of Arianespace as operator, and we are on track on that. In fact, with Philippe and also Martin Sion and Stefan Israel, I will organize, or we will have the next task force meeting coming up very soon, and we will discuss then a bit more in detail on the status of the progress of the various activities. But I can say that we are on good track as planned, and this is really proceeding well. Of course, what is very important is the first commercial flight coming before the end of the year, but then also the ramp up next year and the year after to really come to a steady exploitation of Ariane 6, which of course we need. Thank God we have Ariane 6 back as our future workhorse, and I'm really looking forward to this wonderful rocket to come.
Thank you very much. I will ask you nearly the same question I asked Mr. Ishii and Mr. Baptiste regarding the space situational awareness and the space traffic management, and the fact that today one private player, like let's say it, SpaceX owns 7,000 satellites of the 10,000 that are in low Earth orbit. Is this still relevant for space agencies to try organize this, or well, where do we go from there?
Yeah, oh, it's I mean the answers that have been given before by Ishii-san and Philippe are very correct, and I have very little to add because it's really well said. I mean, we have a situation where we have a very fast increase of satellites in space, and that is good news because this is really showing that the space industry and space is becoming a a major part of daily life, from navigation to telecommunication, Earth observation, and many other domains. And this is great. This is really, really good. Of course, and I fully share what was said before, we need to make sure that this space is used sustainably. That means that we can use it in the future, future generations even, so not only for next year and the year after, but really for a long period of time. And yes, absolutely, this needs regulation, this needs space traffic management, and we have to reinforce our effort there. And there, I think Europe has to make an effort, share what was said before also. This has to be done by the relevant partners and regulatory bodies. ESA is a technical body, it's not a regulatory body, so we will certainly look at the aspects related to technical issues on this part, but not the regulatory part. But one thing we did, and I think this is something where I got a very positive feedback from many partners, not only in the space community, but also outside, is to establish the Zero Debris Charter, which, as you know, was decided in Sevilla in November last year, and was signed up in the meantime by quite a number of member states, but also private companies or private institutions, commercial companies across the world, of course, mostly in Europe, but also in the US and also in Asia. And that's something that I think it's a symbol. We are not, as I repeat, we are not a regulatory body, but we are creating the awareness. We are doing technical work to ensure that our satellites at the end of their life can be deorbited in a proper way. We would like to standardize this. We would like to help industry to do it in a cost-efficient way. And this is exactly our job, so that industry can pick up the standardized methods and technologies in order to be sustainable in outer space. And this is, for me, a very important aspect. And I'm really looking forward to further members joining the Zero Debris Charter. I've heard quite a few others who are expressing interest. In fact, just last week I was signing together with another private company again signing up to this charter. So it's something that that has created awareness, and I think and I hope that this is something where Europe can also show that we are taking sustainability extremely serious, of course, on planet Earth, on the surface, but also in space. And this is something where I'm really looking forward to widening this and to further strengthening the international cooperation.
Thank you very much. A more sensitive topic. Well, everybody knows that the European space industry is quite suffering from the changes of priorities, changing of strategies from operators, from all the world, worldwide. And sometimes new players are coming and disrupting the market, sometimes just by being loud on what they promise to do. How can ESA support the industry? Well, budget is not necessarily the answer. How can, well, all the agencies help the industry to be more reactive? Is there anything to change regarding your return? And do we need to teach better our politics or politicians to tackle with the subject?
Yeah. I mean, industry really is under pressure today more than ever. In fact, I'm here in NESTEC, and we have a meeting of what we call the high-level forum with industry, which is both big industry, medium-sized, so mid-caps, and SMEs, smaller industry. And we are discussing exactly what you are just addressing here. How can we, first of all, listen to industry? What are the issues at stake? And what can we do as ESA? And if I say ESA, this really means together with the member states. And Philippe, sitting right next to you, is one of our key member states. He has raised quite loudly also the issue of geo-return, but there's much more to it than the geo-return situation. It's industrial policy, it is speed, it's agility, it is making sure that profitability comes back to industry. We recognize the situation, and I think we all agree we have to do something about it, because it's really serious. And I speak here a moment for European industry, but I think in Japan you have a very similar situation. We have an excellent industry, very strong, very capable, very efficient, and really good in terms of capabilities. But internationally, the speed is going so fast. Investments on the public side, on the commercial side, are increasing rapidly, and that's good. I mean, that's really good, and we should not complain about it. We should be happy to see that. But my question is, as DG of ESA, what can we do to help our industry to be part of this race and to be excellent in the future, not only in the past decades? And this is exactly what we're discussing. And there are a lot of measures we are discussing. I don't want to preempt the discussions. I will present them to the Council in October, to Philippe and the other member states, but they are related to certainly agility. That means time to contract, time of implementation, faster reviews, faster processes and procedures, lighter processes and procedures, but also measures to increase the profitability of industry, because this profitability has been an issue, as we have seen recently in the news, for quite a number of companies, and we have to restore this profitability, therefore make them strong again on the world market. And we are committed to that. We understand the industry extremely well. We are working extremely well together. I think it is fair to say that also the ESA mechanism over the last decades has helped creating such a strong industry, and we will continue so in the future. We will change, we will adapt, and this is something I'm very committed as DG of ESA, of course always in the hands of my member states, and I look here at Philippe in particular, and thanks Philippe for the strong voice he also makes on some topics. So we do need a change of the overall space ecosystems, and believe me, this is something we take very serious. So I think this is an ongoing process. Of course, we are preparing the next ministerial. The next ministerial will be a key milestone in preparation of the EU MFF, which will start from 2028 onwards. So 25 as ESA ministerial, 28 as ESA ministerial, and then the MFF is a very important sequence. And I would like to make sure that on one side, this transformation process, which we have initiated already with the member states, and the preparation of the ministerial conference leads to a stronger space ecosystem. And this is what I think we are all around this table, you in Toulouse certainly, and also here in ESTEC, we are all committed to, and we are looking for solutions how we can do that.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Aschbacher.